Pastor Mac, is getting to know you and what God has put inside of you. How would you encourage, you encourage your church members to get together and say, okay, 3 of you, 4 of you, 5 of you, go out. Encourage people that are at home that they don't need their pastor's permission to go out to the mall or a coffee shop, grab a couple other, lukewarm Christians and huddle up together and get out there. How would you encourage that to happen? Because if everyone, because it says, he who wins soul is wise, which means if you don't, you're not.
Well,
right?
That's very
and
true.
The reverse works in reverse.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're not winning souls, you're not wise. And Jesus talked about the 30, the 60, the 100. And I was always like, why did he start at 30? Like, that seems to be the lowest bar he's thinking.
Yeah.
So how would you encourage people to get at least their 30 to Jesus?
Well, to me, I can relate only on the basis of how God dealt with me, which was a revelation that empowerment in my life by God, if I was ever going to go beyond my limitations and begin letting him empower me, it involved most basically with aligning yourself with his heart and his purpose. And there is no higher purpose than taking the gospel to the world, beginning with your own community,
right?
Your own relationships and co-workers, and then the community. And of course, as we become more oriented toward other people's needs, and the basic need is to be saved and to begin basing your life on the truth of the Word. So empowerment by God means making his high purpose yours. You can't afford to sit at home and do nothing and pray for yourself. It is when you give something away that you can expect it to be coming back to you on every wave, manyfold.
It didn't go good for the guy who stayed home and put his talent inside the door.
No, it didn't.
It didn't go good for him. But he was a servant in the house. It just didn't go good for him at the end.
Well, this really was the big aha moment for me. Hey, if I want it to happen, then I need to do it God's way. I need to make his high purpose mine. There's no higher purpose than sharing the gospel.
There are people watching Pastor Mac right now that you've had that kind of moment where you thought, I'm going to slow down a little bit, but God is saying, no. I have so much more for you to do, and I believe God's going to open some supernatural doors in the days ahead, and you just need to be willing to step through those doors and do what he's called you to do. There's some of you that God has blessed you, and you think you're going to retire, but this is a moment in time like we've never had before. And I believe God is calling, you always call them silver saints, Doug, but to step up to the plate and complete some of what God's put on the inside of you that you've never done. I know our dear friend Fred Market, who's a globalist training missionaries, he's looking for missionaries that are like in 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s, to train and go into some of these countries that have never heard the gospel. And he was with YWAM for 40 years. And so, we have information on that as well if you feel that. But let's show early ministry days. I love this. Lynn is playing something there.
That's the auto harp.
The auto harp.
Wow.
And you're clapping over there, keeping the rhythm. That's the early days. And then look at your 30-year anniversary. Who would have thought all that God has done? There's one picture, and I think there's a picture that shows the crowd. And then there you go. That's Living Word Church. And then there's a church of you. There you are in El Salvador, one of those church plants that you're talking about. Yeah. And for people that are watching that would like to get involved and help you with that, how would they do that, Pastor Mac?
Well, they can go to our website, would be the easiest and quickest way to identify the path to partnership.
You got to tell them what that website is.
Mac Hammond.
.org. Yeah.
MacHammond.org. I don't even know my own website.
Yeah, MacHammond.org.
At any rate, the website would be the way you would identify pathways to partnership, involvement with this ministry. It's just important that every believer have a piece of going into all of the world.
Yeah.
He didn't say you go into all of the world only if you're a missionary. Everybody needs a piece of it. So make your supply of service and time. If you're not the one that goes, then prayer and finance. but everybody needs a piece of going into all of the world.
Where are you going next? What church is the next church plant?
Well, we're leaving Friday for the Dominican Republic for
Dominican Republic.
number 5 in the Dominican Republic.
Number 5. Okay, well, Daystar wants to sow $10,000 into the Dominican Republic. And if you're watching today and you would like to be a part of that, I want you to go to the phone right now and call. And anything that comes in for this, 100% will go to Pastor Mac. And if you have enough money for the Dominican Republic, then it can go for the next church plant. But for those of you who want to be involved in missions and building a church in the world, I want you to go to the phone right now and call and say, yes, I want to help Pastor Mac and be a part of that. It's really important, don't you think? To
Absolutely.
Get involved?
You know, when you sow into Daystar, you sow into the world. When you sow into Pastor Mac, you're going to sow into this location, and you're going to get. We're going to match that. So please, let's get this going. You can be part of starting a church, or you know what? Maybe you want to go with Pastor Mac. Maybe you want to go to Minneapolis and get trained how to do some witnessing. You can do these things. We want you to do these things because God is on. We're ready for the biggest revival in world history. Right. He's not playing. My sense is he is wanting to come back. He wants more sons. He wants more daughters. And today is the day of salvation for so many.
Hello, familia. Enjoying the content you just watched? Well, this is the perfect opportunity to click those like and subscribe buttons and then share with someone who needs a little pick-me-up today.